Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach NFL channel. In this video, we're going to review Week 5 of the 2025 NFL SuperCoach season. So, an average week, I suppose, 502, sort of slightly above the average score. But given how high we were in the ranks, we have slipped 121 spots, so just inside the top 300. So, not terrible, but obviously not the direction we want to be moving in. If we have a look at the team this week, so we had Jalen Hurts as our vice captain. 38 for him was okay. Definitely wasn't worth looping. In the end, technically the right call, but we could have potentially done a bit better. At running back, we had CMC with the 47, was a great result. Devon Achane with 27 continues to be solid. Amarian Hampton, so scored 19, which was, not fantastic, but also has an ankle injury. Sounds like he's going to go on the IR, which means he's out for at least 4 weeks. So I think he is a trade this week. Ashton Genty, 26, so making some cash. Still probably got a nice negative break even, and a favourable matchup this week against the Titans. So hopefully can kick once again. Bijan was on the bye, so no stress there. And Cam Scatterbo on the bench with 22, so would have got us a few more points over Hampton, but he's still doing his thing. Tough matchup this week against the Eagles, so we'll see. He's still making a bit of cash, so we're not too stressed on that pick yet. At wide receiver, Puka Nacua, 39 points, rock solid from him. Monroe St. Brown we brought in this week, 28 points, was all right. George Pickens we brought in for Pearsall after the injury, so we have used our second boost already. So not ideal, but 25 points for him, so make some good cash. Still got a nice break even of 5 up against Carolina this week. So it may depend on CeeDee Lamb's availability, but we can give Pickens one more week. Jefferson, 31, was all right, and he is on the bye this week. So last week it was Adunze, this week it's Jefferson. It's just how NFL goes. Abuka continues to absolutely carve up. 55 points for him this week. So he's made us, what's that, about 9 mil. 8.1, there you go. I probably had him a bit low or high to start. But negative 22 break even still, up against a depleted San Fran defense. It's good times if you've got him. Ted McMillan with the 20, so he obviously came in for a Dunze, so nice solid score there. Kincaid, 27 points was good. Tyler Warren, 24, was also pretty handy. Fannin, 18 on the bench, so slightly reset his break even there, which was nice. Tyler Loop only scored 8, would have dropped out of our overall score. Borregales over 26 was the play this week. We obviously didn't expect Baltimore to absolutely fall off the edge of the cliff just because Lamar was out. New England slightly better in defense, 16 than San Fran with 14. And then Josh Allen is our captain, 40 points, was a pretty solid score as our captaincy this week. So in terms of the head-to-head matchups this week, so snuck in a win in the first league with a win over the Shadur Slammers with 495, so not the worst score there from Vox. Had Justin Fields in the VC score of 51, so may have potentially been worth taking that. Yep, had Josh Allen as captain, so missed out on a few points there. Saquon with 32. So how's his break even? Still got a break even of 40, but into that nice matchup against the Giants this week that we were targeting. Jamar Chase, so well done for holding him. 52 this week. Somewhat reset his break even to 38, but a tough matchup against Green Bay. Very good defense this week. Debo, nice little pod, 39 this week. Took the cash with Luke McCaffrey, just getting 11. But had CMC, had a Booker, Josh Allen captain, New England defense. Jameer Gibbs on the bench for 30. That's an interesting one. Who's his running backs? Genty, CMC, Hampton, and Barkley. Oh, interesting. I would have thought Gibbs was a lock every week, um, particularly in that matchup against Cincinnati. But there you go. Across the league, so looks like clearing away the best score this week for Kyron out loud. Travis's team with a massive 593. So he had Kyron Williams with a 54. Puka Nakua had Tyler Loops 8, so must have had some big scores. The Bookers 55, JSN 46. Pat Mahomes is captain with 55 today. Nice one. Had Javonte Williams, so again, we trade out Chase, he goes good. We trade out Williams, he goes good. After trading out Hampton, trading out Genty, just can't get the trades right this year, unfortunately. But I don't think we're going straight back to Jamar Chase this week. But great job there, Trav. In the second league, did cop a bit of a pasting by Drake May Save Us. Tim's team sits first on the ladder, and probably rightly so, scoring a 550 this week. VC'd McCaffrey, which was, I think, one of the best moves this week, so well done. Has Kyron Williams as well. JSN, Jimmy Gibbs, Josh Allen, Puka Nakua. So lots of good scores of Buka, St. Brown. Yeah, nice. Well done there. Might have been the top scorer in the league. Not quite. I think Relentless Dance team with a 569. So another Pat Mahomes owner getting him there. Javonte Williams scored big, 52. JSN. Sam Laporta with 35. That's a nice return for him this week. Nico Collins with a 27. That's nice. Had a Booker, obviously. Yeah, so some great scoring there. In the overall league, so I'm still sitting first, which is nice considering some of the other scores this week. Like Inside Out has made up some ground there with 534 this week. 581 for Katrina's team, which I don't believe I've run into that team yet. Fug Golf, great name. 569 for Relentless. So I think Katrina's got it in the overall or open league. So we'll have a look. No, that's Mitch's team. Well done, Mitch. Still beat me with a 504. But here we go, 581. So had Javonte, Darren Waller with a 32. Went early on that pick. Well done on that. Nico Collins, Jamar Chase, Pat Mahomes. VC Mahomes too. So probably didn't quite have the loophole going, but yeah, great result having him in the team. But McCaffrey, Nakua, Jefferson, Ibuka, St. Brown, all the big guns that went well this week. So well done, Katrina. Great shooting. Other players that we all may have missed. Number one this week, and I did bring him into my redraft league. So I was absolutely cheering that Rico Dowdle went massive this week with a 61-point return. Not too sure how long Chuba Hubbard's out for, so probably not a super coach trade. But yeah, if he's available on your waiver wires in your redraft leagues, get on. Jonathan Taylor, probably number one overall in terms of points, I'd imagine. No, number three is just behind Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, but clearing away RB1. 20 points clear of CMC. Scored 60 this week. Absolutely killing it. Is expensive, but I think he is a must-have by end of season. Sam Darnold in that shootout against Tampa Bay, 57 points. CJ Stroud in that carve up against Baltimore, 57. Mahomes, we talked about. Prescott with a 55. Who did they play? I can't remember. Baker Mayfield, the other half of that shootout with a 53. Trevor Lawrence today with a 53. I didn't actually see the final score today. I'll have to go back and have a look because I'd already won my redraft head to head. I was a bit busy first day back at work and didn't really bother. I guess we'll try and look outside quarterbacks because you can see Stafford, Fields went well. Devontae Williams we talked about. Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, aka 51 points. At 8 mil, if you're looking for a downgrade from Hampton, I think he could offer a bit of value. JSN we've looked at. So Jake Browning finally got something going with 44. AJ Barner, have no idea who this lad is, but he scored 41 this week. So well done to that 147 that were on that. Probably was cheap enough, so that's good getting. Jalen Waddle scored a 40, so with Tariq Hill out, a good chance for him to establish himself as wide receiver one there. Jake Ferguson continues to go well. Probably could be tight end one by the end of the season. Debo's been a bit of a surprise. Stephon Diggs finally had a decent game with a 39. Shahid Kendrick Bourne with the injury crisis there at San Fran with a 38 was timely. I don't know anything too crazy here. Just lots of good players doing all right. Dylan Gabriel will be on the bubble this week, 32 this week. So a potential downgrade option. Darren Waller will be the other interesting one with his 32 this week. So I might flip over to the break evens. So Jackson Dart actually number one this week with a negative 50. So a bit of an interesting call with JJ McCarthy on the bye, but probably due back this week. For those like me that own him, what do we do? Do we bring in Dart to get 1 week ahead on cash gen? Does McCarthy miss more time on the other side of the bye? It seems like it's pointing to he will be back. So do we save a trade in that sense? Darren Waller at number two. So looks like probably, the number one downgrade target. Maybe if you've got like a Brock Bowers who's struggling a bit at tight end. Just trying to think who else. If you've got like a Trey McBride or those sort of guys, I'd probably hold. Maybe a George Kittle, if you wanted to access the cash. You've been trying to hold on to Kittle. I think maybe you could downgrade to Waller, get some cash, and bring Kittle back in when the times come. Kenneth Gainwell comes off the bye this week. Probably don't like the job security there. Genti Abuka keep making money, so they're a hold. Krosky Merritt, as I said, negative 19 this week, so worth a consideration. Dylan Gabriel does have a nice break even, but up against Jackson Dart and even JJ McCarthy, I probably wouldn't have him as big of a cash grab. But again, fortune favours the brave. Jake Tongs with negative 16 break even. Maybe have a look how long George Kittle is expected to be out. Woody Marks, after his massive week last week, only getting a 4-point return this week, which was unfortunate. And on the bye this week, so maybe not the best move if you went for him. Mason Taylor with the 26, going to get a little bump in cash, but tight end, we're probably looking more so at Darren Waller this week. Just having a look who else might be somewhat relevant. Judkins is still making money, but at 10 mils probably a bit too expensive. RJ Harvey, more of a slow burn option. Might not be bothered. Kendrick Bourne, depending on the injury updates at San Fran, could be viable as a cheap wide receiver this week. Luther Burden as well, coming off the bye, did have that big game before the bye, so negative 7 break even. If you're looking to downgrade at wide receiver, he could be an option. Rico Dowdle's got a negative break even. Javonte Williams still has a negative break even thanks to his 52 this week, so again, one that I've stuffed up. D Mercado got a 12. Should have got a lot more, but just threw the ball away at the 1 yard line. Um, Unlucky legend. Ferguson, Debo still making some cash. But after that, maybe nothing too spectacular. Tennessee Titans bottom dollar defense if you're interested in that sort of thing. So the plan this week, we've got a bit of cash in the bank, got a couple of trades up our sleeve. Um, so Hampton is injured, so he probably has to go. Um, the choice is there. I'll go by the points this week. It's probably easier. So we can either try to go down to Krosky Merritt, or I guess the ideal move would be to go up. Just move him out, sorry. Computer's having a meltdown. Um, as we said, we did want to try and bring Saquon back in. We do have to find a couple of mil to do that. So based on, break evens and the like, I think, the nice option would be to downgrade Fannin to Waller, but we can't quite afford that. Um, so, do we trade out one of these guys? Tyler Warren still has a negative break even, so that's not happening. Dalton Kincaid, has a break even of 12, but it's pretty much like he is the number one receiver for Josh Allen, so I do like having that stack. So, we can't do that in one trade. We do have a final boost up our sleeve. So that is another option that we could potentially boost our way out of that. So, but then we need a third trade. Yeah, so let's think about it. Because there is a wild option that I've come up with, and it sort of solves a couple of issues. Um, and that being, um, if we just have a look at Scatterbo, so he's got a break even of 15. As we said, he's got a tough matchup. So yeah, actually, it's probably going to be a chance. So what I'm thinking is, ideally, I think the four running backs we want for the season is Bijan, JT, Saquon, CMC. We need to find 9 mil. So then the crazy move, which I can't commit to because it's that crazy, is if we look at Josh Allen, you know, plays Atlanta this week, so they aren't setting the world on fire necessarily. Um, but the thing with Josh Allen is he does have a bye in rounds week 7, but then he does have a nice matchup against Carolina in week 8. But what we could do, given that he's got that bye coming up, is we use the boost and trade him out, and we try and have the best of both worlds with both Dart and McCarthy. So obviously after this week, McCarthy can play for the rest of the season, which is handy. Jackson Dart obviously is about to make us a bit of cash. Um, I guess the other option that I haven't really tossed up is maybe we trade Jalen Hurts and run the same play. So I guess, break even at 58, he will in theory lose some cash, um, unless he goes big this week against the Giants, which is entirely possible. So maybe if we undo that, update the trade, do Hurts instead. So we'll do that. because I think Allen is a season-long keeper. As much as Hurts can be as well. Um, if Lamar comes back, it is Allen and Lamar, and then the plan was always sort of to try and flip Hurts after the round 7 bye, but this might just create a little bit more urgency around that. So we can do that. Um, yeah, and so then what that gives us is, basically our running back room is set. Got a couple of decent bench options. Genti's still got a lot of cash to make. Scatterbo could probably play if needed. Um, but we can also look through all the buys. So obviously nothing this week. All good in week 7, week 8, week 9. We missed Saquon. So, that's easily fixed. Week 11. So JT misses week 11. Bijan's already had a buy as well, so that makes him perfect. And then CMC in round 14. So, I think we've got the running back room sorted. So even though we're burning trades, we've only got 14 left. I don't think it's the worst shout. And then in terms of future moves, so what have we got? Chase, Jamar Chase, 18 mil this week. As we said, tough matchup. So him to Pickens could almost be a even money trade, which is pretty sick. Um, and hopefully by then CD Lamb is back. So that pretty much, gives us our wide receiver rooms set. You know, we might like to upgrade our tight ends if we can swing the cash. But then obviously the big one is just trying to get a second quarterback back. But having JJ, having Jackson Dart, hopefully they can make enough money between them to upgrade, downgrade sort of thing in a few weeks' time. Again, depends when Lamar's back, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, there'll be other injuries and that, but it is an aggressive approach, but it's fun, and we're sticking with the plan. So I think we can wrap the video up there with those moves. Actually, we talk captains and vice captains. Actually, before we do that, what was the score in today's game? Oh, Jacksonville got up 31-28. Wow. Good stuff. Um, so I guess the Thursday night game, if you have Jalen Hurts, lock him in at VC. Because we've gone back to Saquon, we have to lock him in for a big one against his former team. Um, now we've only got the one elite quarterback. I think Josh Allen as captain is pretty safe. So they play Monday night football over there, which is a long time to wait, but that's fine. I think the rest of the team we can leave as is. Jefferson on field, we'll probably just loop McMillan in. The one thing is, if CD Lamb is back, um, can we fit both of them in? They are playing Carolina, so it is entirely possible. Who we sit out in that case? Well, we probably just slot CD Lamb in, play both. Obviously, Tet is the cover there. So we'll just see how CD Lamb's travelling. But Pickens to Chase next week. And then we're pretty close to, I think, our top sort of wide receivers. Booker's playable. Maybe it would be nice to upgrade Tet to someone like a Nico Collins for a bit of flexibility through the buys. So yes, I think all in all it's going all right, but probably waffling on a bit here. So as we said, we'll wrap it up. If you like the NFL stuff, give us the thumbs up. Obviously, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, they go below this video. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.